Who's there? Anybody with me? Again. Anybody watching this? Join me. Join the dark side. Well, I can't see anybody's messages as usual. I'm trying a different method here. So if you're with me, put your thumbs up. And Leo in. So we've got Jason and Lee. Welcome to my man cave. This is my little mini studio. Should my fee on? Right, I have technical issues galore. Let's see if anybody can help me out, sort this thing out. Now, can you see? What? Is that actually working the right? It's not working the right way around, is it? Okay. It seems to. That's reading, right? Okay. Ignore me. Anyway, this is my man cave. This is my little studio. This is where I have all my little photographs and my books. And this is a mug. This is a mug. This is a mug. So, Jock and Val for joining me. Are you that bored that you wanted to see me sitting in this room? Yes, it's the right way, and I'm not used to seeing it. Strangely, I can actually read things the proper way around. Yeah. Should my Michael? Bugs Ditch. Live from London with Foxy. You are too? Wow. Okay, that's good. What are you doing? Where are you in London? Are you in the London dungeon, baby? Possibly. Let's have a look. Jane Louise Fleer, thank you for joining, and Sarah Jane Webb. There is. It is the right way around. Thank you for sort of pointing that out. I can't deal with this. I can actually see everything the right way around. I don't know. Anyway, technical glitches with this blooming Mac tonight. So microphones, cameras don't work with Facebook until you set them up, apparently. What else have we got here? Yeah, so where are you, Jason, in London? I want to know. You're not going to tell me, or at least not for a minute. Yeah, I was hoping tonight that I would do an interview with Prince. Unfortunately, he's very unwell and he's recovering in a hospital bed. Not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the fact because I visited him earlier and he was, what the hell am I doing in a hospital bed? He went there, much to his dismay. He didn't want to go down. He fought with my mother for a while about going, and I'm sure it was my lovely wife who encouraged him, even though my mother had been forcing him all day to go. Let me see the messages here. Cut the shit out and crack on with it here back. Fair enough. Okay, Lorraine, that's a very valid point. Thank you. Mike, can you sort Lorraine out, please? She's being abusive. And I can't handle it, okay? Good work on breaking the 2K milestone. Rooting for you all the way. All the time, buddy. Thank you very much, Michael. Stay tuned, Michael, because I want to involve you a little bit now. I want to involve everybody, actually. Yeah, so cut out the shit. Tonight, maybe, soon, hopefully, as soon as the old man is better. I'd like to interview my mother as well, so Pearl will be under the spotlight. Stay with me. We'll do that as a proper Kickstarter live thing, which I would like to test tonight, maybe. So stay tuned for that as well. Okay, I'll try not to. I'll behave myself, Lorraine. Mike, sort it out. What? Get Auntie Pearl on. I can't. Not right now. I will do. and we'll have a little conversation with Auntie Pearl. Yeah, milestone broken. Yeah, over the 2,000 mark. That's good. Thank you for pointing that up, Michael. That's an important point. Yeah. Have you backed the project yet, half of you? If you haven't, get on it. And anybody you know, tell them, get buying the book. Who's busy making all this stuff? Somebody needs to buy it. Yeah, so, right, I'm diddly-daddling. I'm reading from a bit of paper. You don't have to share this tonight if you don't want. It's not official. I can hear the dinging going on. I'll be down in 5. Cheers, Mike. I knew I could rely on you. Let me see my notes here. How to find the KS story. Right, before we go anywhere, let's have a go. Shall I point out a few things? This is my man cave. I took you to my father's man cave a couple of times where he has tools in his shed. I've got pictures everywhere. If I showed you, I haven't got any on the ceiling. However, you'll be interested to know this fact. This is also a decorated what? Can you guess? Can you guess? I don't have a toilet roll, mind you, but any guesses? Let me just read your messages. Hi, Chris. Hi, Mary Red. How many days left, Huw? There are exactly 7 days left. This time, next week, I'll be closing this thing, and whether it's successful or not, it'll be over. Scaffold to the moon, whether it's funded or not, it'll be done and dusted for the time being. So if you want this thing made, I'm sure everybody that's tuning in right now wants this thing made, so I'm not. Yes, I've converted a lavatory into an office. So it's probably about, I don't know, roughly 5 foot by 5 foot, I guess. Something like that. If not, 4.5 by 4.5. We need a millionaire. I need to be a millionaire. I wouldn't be asking people to buy it beforehand. I'd just make it then. I'd make millions of books and just send them out there. Thanks for joining us. You're live in my man cave. I've got pictures all over the place. I've got books, collected books, and that does not seem, it seems weird looking at this the wrong right way round. It's the wrong right way round there, is, as you pointed out. So, yeah, first of all, Kickstarter. Now, I'm going to play with something on you, just for me to point out a couple of things. I was going to go Kickstarter live to see if you could join me there, but complications that we don't need. I'm not sure if I put this out on Facebook or whether it's on Twitter. Just looks like I'm patronizing people, or I don't want to give the wrong impression. But I still want to do this because a few have pointed this out. So I'm going to go to my Kickstarter page. Now, if you look on here, now most of you have got this because many of you have sort of already backed it, but I'm still going to point this out for those of you joining. Now, see that little, and as Michael sort of pointed out, we've hit over 2,000, so that's good news. I wonder if we'll get to 16 by the end of the week. I'm hopeful. I may be a little too hopeful, but you have to believe in what you do. If you haven't seen the blog this week, take a look at that. I'd really like everybody to have a little read of my blog because, I think it reflects my thoughts on this project, and I think it reflects my father's sort of, and my mother, not just my father, I think my parents, and how they've sort of influenced my sort of work ethic, possibly, or even my belief system, or however you want to look at it. But yeah, on the page there, if you just see there, if you hit that little thing, it says read more about the campaign. If you click that, you'll see more of the story and what this project is about. I've gathered that many have checked this page out and haven't seen any of the actual story behind it. They just see the sorry, I shoot people, apparently. That was a present of my mother-in-law. I don't know what she thinks of me, that she thinks I shoot people. Anyway, what I was saying was everybody goes straight to the video. They see the video on Kickstarter. Then they see the packages or the pledges that you can buy. Now, unfortunately, I'd like people to sort of read the thing first before they're forced to buy. So maybe this is a little fault in the system, possibly with Kickstarter, or maybe it's just me, technical issue. As you're quite aware by now, and if you're not, you haven't been watching enough, and I don't think it takes long. It would seem I'm not very technically proficient when it comes to modern social networking technology. So maybe I got it wrong. I shouldn't do. I regard myself as an inept professional, possibly. How's that? How's that for a self-title? Twatter, I call it. Yeah, it is. It is a bit of. Well, I don't know. No, I disbelieve that. Okay, I'm using it, and I think it works. So, before I go any further, how many of you have actually checked the story? Is there anybody out there right now that is watching this and going, I didn't know there was a story on it? But if you didn't, please hit that button and read about the project, read about what I'm doing. I'll go through a few bits now and maybe things that have influenced me. As I said, I'm taking the opportunity tonight to sort of sit down and talk through things, and maybe without any distractions and moving around. You haven't got the wrong. What's happened last minute? Maybe they do. In my world, they do. I do trust that there are things moving, and I've got a lot of support in my corner. I have to say, I've got a lot of good friends who are sort of helping me push things out, and I couldn't ask for more. And that means the most, to be honest, knowing that you guys are in my corner, and I've got to say that because I really do appreciate it. It is strange talking like this and not having any sort of verbal response. Maybe we should all be Skyping each other. You should have a sort of mass conference Skype. That would be a little more natural, I suppose. Yeah. Now, where was I? Sidetracked again. How to find? No. I mentioned my blog. Yeah, if you haven't read my blog, if you're not aware of my blog, I'd like you to check out Prince Street. There's plenty of links through my social media. You can even access it through my website. Go to my blog and have a little read of this week's blog. I haven't blogged for a while because it does get very busy. I need to read some of these messages. I read it on project, but they don't have the cash to fund it entirely. Brilliant. Yeah, no, thank you. That's amazing. I wish I could fund this all myself. That's the idea, I suppose. Maybe I'll have to. Maybe I'll have to start working around the clock to fund it myself, or get a massive loan. It's not the first. Many of my friends or many sort of colleagues have done the same thing, and maybe that'll be the route. I just thought that this might be a good opportunity to sort of pre-sell the project before it was made and help me fund it without me going down any of those avenues. And everybody told me not to do a Kickstarter. Oh, not everybody. Some people told me not to do a Kickstarter. So I had to do a Kickstarter. if you tell me not to do something, that just makes it very difficult to turn it down. That's, yeah, yeah. I've read the story, done my homework. 3 days before my campaign was about to end, I emailed every person from my Facebook contacts personally to let them know about the campaign. Many people probably haven't seen your posts on their newsfeed. I raised nearly 3,000 in the last day as a result of that. It's painful, but you got it. Okay, I'll go for it. Yes, it's on my list. I am going to email absolutely every person. I will get around to it. I am using every given moment between work, before work, after work to push things out. So yeah, I will. It's on my list, and I take that advice not lightly. It's definitely going to be done. Yeah, thank you for that. Diolch yn fawr, Nevis. Yeah, okay. Now that Michael's with us, and I do have to do this, Michael, because I am a massive fan. Long before we started talking, I remember seeing Michael's work in photo gallery. For the first time that I noticed, I had seen his work prior to that, but I fell in love with Michael's work on the walls of the photo gallery in Cardiff about, was it 2 years ago, Michael? I believe, maybe possibly longer. Time is flying. It could be 4 years ago by now. Was it just before or after the Diffusion Festival, maybe? I don't know. I'm glad you're all here anyway to sort of have a chat and look at things. If you have not seen this book, you do have to go out and buy yourself a copy. Are there any copies left? I don't know. 2014 it was. Yes, man, that's 3 years ago. Wonderful work, absolutely amazing, and I am very inspired by Michael's work. Okay, you do have to see this. It's a beautiful book, and it has sort of made me think about a few things that I want to do. That it has influenced. Not that I'm going to steal your ideas or go down your route, Michael, but you do have to see this, and you play with some of the things that are possibly, I don't know, pretty cool at the moment. Put it that way. Now, I was thinking of doing these things, but this is quite original for me to see in this form, with these snippets, on the text, the way the text works through the photographs, and the photographs are behind. It's pointing things out, I know, but this was another aspect that I love. It's the sort of papers that you use, and these little maps, they're brilliant, and I love the text that comes through them, and little stories. And the photographs, well, you know, it goes without saying, I think every one of these belong on a wall, or you could buy each and every image and happily sort of decorate your home in them. Or, well, I'm not sure my children would appreciate that one, being a dead animal of sorts, but yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful book. So if there are copies left, you should go out and buy one of these, because it is in my top 3 favorite books of all time. So take that one with you. Very, very pretty book indeed, and insightful, and it's got a wonderful story behind it. I should mention that's Brave Books as well. Can we see that? There. Oh, see. Yeah, I like that symbol too. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Brave Books. Check that out. Brave Books have got a few books out, I believe. One just recently by Lewis Bush, which really does look interesting. And I spoke to Tom as well, who is who runs Brave Books, and I've got to say, Tom, if you're out there right now, you've been a massive help as well. He's given me all the advice I possibly could have asked for a Kickstarter, and he got me off to an amazing start. So the both of you, you've kind of sort of influenced us a lot. Anyway, just wanted to say that. And I'll probably come back to that in a minute, because I think anybody who wants to buy into this book itself, I might demonstrate a couple of things. So before we do that, I just want to say a couple of things. Like tomorrow, I'll be a bit later going live. I'm on parent duty. You can't avoid these duties. They're law, and there's no getting out of them. So I'm on parent duty tomorrow, and that means parents' evening. And for any of you who have done this, you'll know what it's about, and you know that you can't get out of it. And if you do, I want to know what you did to get out of it. Can you share these secrets? Is that possible? Don't be humbled, Michael. It's all it's all cool. You'll definitely have a copy. Yes, Marion Daniel. Oh, Marion. Sorry, that was silly of me. I'm dyslexic. I read very, very oddly, Marion. I'm not sure. Has that ever happened to you before, or is it just me that's done that? Because it's just typical if I've just called you that. Well, no, not necessarily, Neris. I don't have a book to show you. I do have earlier rough workouts of how it would work paper-wise, which I can show you. As I was saying, I'll run you through this. The book that I'm working on is photographed. It's written. I've done all the drafts. I have drafts. I should probably read out some of them. Let's have a look. It shall have a lot of text. As you know, I've been writing blogs now for the last 2 years, and they've been working pretty well, and I've got better at sort of formulating text and how those stories work amongst each other and the photographs themselves. I've worked out that the book's going to have 4 chapters. Each chapter is only going to be about 8 pages long, and they all have titles. Now, the first title of the first chapter is called Royal Blood. And this will sort of discuss who my father is, what he's like, what he does. And after having an introduction, such as the explanation to Scaffold to the Moon, there'll be 4 chapters, as I said. The second chapter will be called Grave Beginnings. Again, it'll be about sort of 8 pages long in text. And these stories will go back on my father's time as a kid and how he sort of come up the ranks and the way that he thinks and this kind of thing. And maybe how it sort of affects me and my family, and how that's inspired me, maybe. I don't have the other title here. There are another 2 titles. I don't seem to have the titles at hand. Oh yes, one of them is Tomorrow Never Comes, and the other one I don't have, which bemuses me a little. Or at least it's here somewhere, but I'll have to look for it. Yeah, so there's 4 chapters of text. There will be roughly 40 images in total. I would like to shoot another 2 at this stage for it. So, as I said, it's been designed roughly on how it's going to go, but I want a designer to make that something else. And I want an editor to go through the text that I've written to chop it into the best condition it needs to be. I tend to rabbit on a bit sometimes. So I need somebody to go, that needs to go, this needs to go, that needs to stay, what the hell is this? Get rid of that. That kind of thing needs to happen. And then they have to make sure that my spellings are okay. As you see, that can be rather dismal. Due to dyslexia, of course, and sometimes I tend to like commas a lot. Don't know what that's all about as a pattern. I do have a good eye and mind for things, so don't worry in that sense. Yes, as I said, you've seen some of the pictures, of course. Some of them are in prints. Some of the stories won't be in this book. Maybe one or two will, which will exist in between as extra pages, possibly. I am playing with a sort of dynamic book here, something that sort of does something a little different. I wanted to have something special, and I don't want to rush this, but I am giving myself about 3 to 6 months to finalize it in print. So I wanted to go through a vigorous stage, and that's why this costs so much to make. The printer itself is way above anything you'd expect for this kind of thing. I have sourced the best printers, and like I mentioned, if you go back to Michael's book, it's the same printer that Brave Books and Michael chose to do their book. So if you have the opportunity to get Michael's book, it's worth seeing just for the quality alone and the papers and the printing and that kind of stuff, because this is one of the reasons I've chosen them, besides sort of sourcing what they do. They're environmentally friendly, although I'm probably negating that by sort of having it flown over to this country. I'm open to all ideas, don't get me wrong, and I am allowing things to change, but I'm pretty staunch on what I'm doing. I have decided how this is going to go. The only thing that's room to play now is the sort of design and text, unless anything major changes. You won't be able to tune in tomorrow, Jane. No, I won't accept this. I'm sorry. If you can't tune in tomorrow, don't bother, okay? Don't bother. I thought you were in this, you know, for the pound. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, okay, you can go to work tomorrow evening, Jane. Maybe we'll come to work with you. Where are you working? I'm sure you're going to share that information with me. We'll find out. We'll find out, Jane, and we will come and film you in work. How's that sound? That sounds all right, doesn't it? Do you think your boss will mind? Are you getting an acoustic here? I'm going to get a guitar out now and start playing. I can't do any Michael Jackson dancing in here, Greg, even though I would love to perform for you. Thank you for joining, everybody. Start sharing then. Let's see how far this can go. Do you know that one of the videos the other night actually reached over 3,200? Absolutely shocked. I was absolutely shocked. Now, what made that happen? Was it all the sharing? I don't know. But is this interesting? Are you bored yet? Because I can probably move things along to get the information to you. But if you're happy to sort of sit in and talk with me, that's all it is. It's just free and easy talking in my little man cave. As you see, if I turn the image there, that's my father's think shed, as this is mine. Up here, I have my little stream of information and books. Yeah, so I do have a rough copy. It's pointless me really demonstrate it. It's what I did to start with. This is all I have on me. I've started designing things on InDesign, and this is going through the process. So due to sort of page layouts and that kind of thing, but I've broken this into sections. So that has the old cover. That's not the new cover. The new cover is hidden secret information. You know, I just haven't chosen the best one yet. As I said, I want this to be perfect. It's out there for a long time. I'm giving this, you know, something that needs the attention. So that's why I haven't put a a rough copy on Kickstarter, because I don't want that to go out and then people go, well, it looked like this and it looked like that and that's what I bought. That it needs to go through another stage, and that's kind of why I'm asking for a Kickstarter funder to get that happening in order to produce the final thing. Don't make me feel guilty. You might go hide and you can't do that, Jane. And you can't do it now. You just said on Facebook. Don't think the hospital will allow you to film. Now then. You say this, and I nearly, under the request of someone else today, let's get someone like you. No, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? Under the request of someone today, nearly took in my laptop to film my father and give him an interview in the hospital. It didn't happen, of course. And I'm sure they may have sort of made a fuss about that, but maybe we'll try it tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe we'll join you, Jane. Maybe. Have a rather pointy nose. That's interesting. Midnight. Tune in tomorrow night, probably. Do watch the end of this, okay? Because it'll show you a few more things. Because I am going to show a few more booky things, okay, Neris? So please come back, look at this in your own time. Can't you have it on while you're cooking? Cook it, and listen to it. Same time. Don't leave me. You should stay in here. Good evening, Rachel. Good evening, Geraint, Bethan, Melanie. Should my Melanie? Dare you? Don't dare me. Please don't dare me, Jane. Wrong things happen when you dare him to do stuff. Anyway, I have a rough layout here of how this stuff was going to work, and it's sort of all scrap stuff in here, but you can see some of the images turning up there that you're already familiar with. There's a layout in this rough draft. That's not the proper cover. It was just to demonstrate to designers a while back what I was thinking of doing. However, let's have a look. I do want this kind of thing to happen, where I was inspired by a couple of books last year, which, as of, there you go, that's broken. Nah, it's not broken. Yeah, but it was the idea of that these images fold out. So I made a little scrapbook of what this should look like. So this is the only sort of demonstration that I have for you right now, that in its physical form. I did want to make a prototype before I started, but then, like I said, I was frightened that people would consider that the definitive edition and then may go, well, that's not what I bought into. However, the downside of this is people don't know what they're buying into, I suppose. But given that information, it's roughly going to be the size of, let's do some book showing, shall we? It says that, so that there is Toby Glanville's book. It's roughly about 27 centimeters by 21 maybe, something like that. And I think I've made note of exactly what size it will be. It'll come with a slipcase. I don't have any examples of slipcases. I'm not sure why. Do I or don't I? I can't see anything, unfortunately. I'm not sure why I don't have one of those, but I have looked into this. I've also made a Kickstarter reward, which is a toolbox. Yep, a toolbox. It's something I started with my mother discussing around the table not so long ago, and she said, "Oh man, you're gonna have a hell of a job cleaning this house out when we're gone." And I just thought, yeah, it's a morbid conversation, and we had a laugh. And I openly admitted, yeah, it's going to be a hell of a job cleaning this place out when you're gone. Not so much my mother, My father, he's a bit of a collector. I was asked recently whether he's a hoarder. I probably like to think of him as a collector because maybe it adds to his sort of personality. He does collect things like mud, and he has collected things since he was a kid, coins mainly. Anyway, back to books. Now, an example, again, and this is from one of my favorite photographers, and I regard these guys as, massive inspiration to me and good friends in the photography world. This is another book by Jack Latham, and again, if you've got a couple of quid and you'd like to check this out, it's really worth having. It's a mover and a shaker in the industry, okay? And the reason being, it's called Sugar Paper Theories, based on the Iceland murders. It's not really, as Jack says, to solve anything. It's more a case of working the process photographically. Not in his words, in mine. I'm not very good sometimes at sort of describing things, but if you ever get a chance to get a copy of this or have a read of some of the things. Now, this is what I was talking about. Now, for examples, I was inspired by this book in terms of layout and how it moved. And it's not the first one I saw, and I discussed this with Jack earlier this year, or was it last year, possibly, Jack? I'm not sure Jack is tuning into this, so maybe he probably won't see it. But I was interested long before I spoke to Jack about this kind of thing happening, where you had the smaller pages, and I'm thinking of doing a little extra bit into this book, and again, it relies on the designer, but my father has little licenses and membership books and those kind of things, and I'd like to probably add them inside as inlay tabs, which feel like the actual things. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, and probably text pages that break up little stories, somewhat like the ones in prints. If we have a look at this, you'll have little snippet stories in prints, and I'll pull this back. So you have maybe half pages coming through the book as well, where they fit in, where they add to the narrative of the story as it goes along. As I mentioned, the stories in this thing do sort of go from one thing to the next, where you'll be going through stages of his life, and the chapters have been set up and the photographs are set up to sort of narrate a feel right through. And I felt that this kind of did somewhat of that idea that I had. One of the favourite things that I saw with Jack also was that his book did exactly what I was planning. And I told him this, and I didn't want him to think that I was copying him in any way. It's even more inspired when you see it happening. I can't find an example. Give me a moment. It must have an example. I'm sure it was this book. I'm 100% positive. Okay, I'm not seeing it. Ah, yes, there's one with you. There. Now, as this page goes, you'll see that it sort of, there's a joiner here, and you pull out to a larger image. And that was something I thought, that's what I want to do. And especially the smaller text. I'd seen this in a magazine some years ago, and I thought, that if ever I do my next book, that's what I want to do. And when I saw it with Jack, I thought, that works really nicely. So this is a really good example of where I'm going, okay? Now, I mentioned in an interview with Photograd recently. Okay. Yes, thank you for staying with me, Neres. Rock and roll, buddy. Nice to see you, get right. Robert Law. Hi from the Gox. Thank you for supporting, Robert. And thanks for following. Shwmae David, Shwmae Endav, we're all here tonight. That's a big one. I meant book. Thank you. Well, I am glad that I wasn't sure if I was exposing anything I shouldn't have been there, Melanie. Yes, that is a big one. That's one of my prized books also, which goes into my top 3. Don't tell anyone. I shouldn't point out what he did. This was a birthday gift of Jack Latham, by the way. This was his last copy, and he gave it to me as a birthday present. And it says happy birthday there. But something significant happened on that day, on the 9th. Yes, I nearly said. Anyway, on that day, something significant happened. And he signed it with a message, which was funny, but I'm not going to share it with you because it's naughty, and I shouldn't. It's got rude words in it. Mike Lewis, you know what rude words are, don't you? Not rude words, rude words. Naughty words. And I know this because Aaron told me that you swear a lot. He said that you're a naughty boy. And if Aaron is looking, I don't think he will be. I'm sure he'll be bored to death by now talking about books. But while we're on the subject of books, I was asked recently what was my favourite books. I've just showed you 2. And I'm going to show you the first one that really turned me on to books and why I should be making these kind of things. And if you see this, Claire, you know that you're probably one of my greatest inspirations as a photographer and teacher. You were once my teacher, and you taught me a lot. Yeah, if you can get your hands on one of these, I don't think so. You should do so. It's a beautiful book. It's called Beyond the Forest. Can't very well show you examples. Give me a moment. That there is one of the most beautiful shots you will ever see. But you really do have to see this in colour. And the pages and the paper, the kind of quality it is. It's done by Stidle. It's got a beautiful sort of imprint on the cover. Anyway, that there was probably the #1 book that changed everything for me. And it's a cherished and prized possession with a print, of course. I could start selling books on you, couldn't I? Instead of selling my own, selling everybody else's. So there's 3 books that you should check out. I'll probably give you one more as well, because I bought this recently and I think it's a gorgeous piece of work. And some of you will recognise that. And it's a book by John Irving. And it's called Partition. Another beautiful piece, and sort of, it's a social documentary photography book. Yeah, check that out. Yeah, I'm stopping selling books right now. However, so, any questions? How can I do a video without pulling a jib? How's that for a question? I've been doing them now for the last sort of few videos, so this is how you get creases on your face, by the way. Or not. Maybe I should have more. Anyway, I can't see any questions. Is everybody busy cooking? What's his record collection like? No, I'm not doing that. I can share my Spotify with you, but that's not very well organized. My record collection is probably about 200 albums, and it's not that good these days, you know. Although I did listen to Queens of the Stone Age this month, and I've listened to Foo Fighters. I've also listened to Liam Gallagher's album, and I was blown away by Queens of the Stone Age and Foo Fighters, obviously. So they're in the collection. Aaron is learning his times tables. I would love to see that. I think I'm a big fan of Aaron, and I'm really chuffed he joined us the other day. Anybody who didn't see this on Sunday night, please have a look at it. That's another problem. The video that I did on Sunday night, I had every problem under the sun. My battery died in the end. My data ran out. My data cut out. My camera wasn't working properly. I had to go back and see Alan. So the video split into two. So if you haven't seen the second part, please go back and have a look at where I'm talking to Lara. He's brilliant. Let's have a look. Your father's record collection. Now that's who you meant. Okay. My father's record collection, as you can see up there, that there was, I can't even tell you what that record was. I can't read it, but I know Roy Orbison's there. Now, my father has quite an eclectic taste, so I've learned, and I think that's where I've been inspired. As I said earlier, at some point, of course I've got a great taste in music, Geraint. Do you know, I've never called you by your name, Geraint, have I? It's always been Kinsey. I know Kinsey for many years, and we talk on social media more than anything these days, but I photographed Kinsey and his band in the day, Butterflies with Beards, I think your last name was. Is that right? I mean, is that right, that it was your last band, or with Malpas was the first band? Yeah, my father's got quite an eclectic taste. Those who know him will probably agree that David Alexander be on the top there, along with Elvis, Roy Orbison possibly, Richard Clayderman. He even likes the Foo Fighters, and he was sort of, he was telling me earlier how he loved listening to them on Jules Holland. He's a big fan of Jules Holland, and the musicians that join him there of all sorts of tastes. Yeah, he's got one strange collection, I can tell you. I remember he'd wake me up in the middle of the night sometimes. You'd have Richard Clayderman playing full blast. He'd come home after a few bevies and then start playing music until silly. But that was kind of comforting. I loved that sound as a kid. I still love it now. If I hear music, I think it's the what am I trying to say? It's the biggest comfort you can have. Anyway, moving on. Not you, Princeman. Yes, I got it now. Sorry, Tina. I was kind of thinking music, and it just came into my head. So, shut up, Tina. Shut up, man. That's how we say shut up in Tumble. Shut up, man. Me alone, man. That's Tina. She's my big cousin. She picks on me a lot. There, Tina. You got the wrong guy. I never swear. Don't listen to my son. I didn't believe him at all, Mike. I've seen you in the gym, and you know when I'm walking through, I don't do anything in there. I just walk around. But yeah, I know you don't swear. I've never heard you swear, Mike. I don't believe that for a second. What's your father's most bizarre collection? Fridges. Now this I do not get. Why on earth would you need more than one fridge? Okay, two fridges. If you've got, let's just say you have a fridge for beer. If you have one for beer, now that's a small if. You're not going to have. Okay, you have. Everybody has a fridge for a beer. They have a fridge for milk and a fridge for beer. Why would you need more than two fridges? Can anybody answer that? Because I'm still looking for the answer. My father has, let me see off the top of my head. He did have two in the kitchen. He had three in one shed, two in another, and then one, possibly two in another shed. That I know of. He may have had more, but that's more than enough. It's way more than enough. Now that's the strangest collection he's got as far as I'm concerned. However, let's just see. What's that? What is it? It is a bottle filled with water, hand painted, of course. It's a bulb, as you can see, and it's been sealed with a bit of, I don't know, it looks like mastic or something. When we talk about strange collections, my father at one time had this fascination with bottles, and they were hand-painted or handmade bottles. He'd learned how to open them from the bottom, and he started making ships in bottles. And then he made ships in bottles within ships in bottles, within ships in bottles. And if he could have, they would have been within ships in bottles. So that might be the strangest collection. However, those are handmade strange collections. So yeah, that's a strange collector type thing he is. Let's have a look. Yeah, Kinsey, much respect to you. No respect to you, my friend. Mark Martin, good evening. And much respect to my dad. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. He will probably see this over. I must say, there, I used to collect stamps. I got him one for Christmas once. See. Yes, he did collect stamps, and you probably would have been quite young then, Tina. I'm sure. But I don't disbelieve that. I'm sure it's right. How would you get a ship in a bottle? How do you get a ship in a bottle? I'd be breaking his secret there, but I'm going to tell you anyway. He would do this thing where it was hot water, and maybe the temperature changes. I can't remember exactly, but I think it's hot and cold, where you would put a bottle inside the water, where it would sit above the seal almost exactly, and then it would split. The base would split, and it would come completely off the bottle. And it normally, if you did it right, it would be perfect. It would be perfect around. And then you put the ship inside a bottle. But like I said, it got to a point it was like, I wonder if I put a ship inside that bottle, what does that do? What does it do? So he did it. He did lots of them. And I don't know if he sold any. He gave one. He sold one in an auction. Not a word of a lie. Yes, that happened. He sold everything in an auction at one point. Even Tina's stamp. Haha, fridge. Yeah, haha, fridges, yeah. Jane, what's your father's most bizarre collection? Sorry, I'm going up the list now rather than down. How do I go back down? Get away. It's very slow, this thing. Be suspicious of anyone who has a fridge in the shed. I've come to learn this, Kinsey, and I'd be inclined to agree. How do you get a ship in Roger? Right, okay. It's not been made, Prince. The fascination with whiskey in a bottle didn't last long. Yeah, funny enough, I'm sure Prince had the same fascination at one time. Not so much these days. That can be assured. Jane, you said something up there. Keep your stock of beer. Yes, it was that. As well as a stock of whiskey, sherry, and everything else at one point. Serious question. There's only one Prince, fortunately. Okay. Any other questions? One must have quit. I've probably missed a few, to be honest. This thing goes up the side. I can't keep track of it. Silly me, see? Silly. I can't keep track of it, see? Moira, shwmae? Nice of you to join us. Where have you been? Where have you been? I'm not often like that. You can vouch for that, I'm sure. So I've shown you some of the books. I've shown you pretty much the ideas I have with my book. I don't have any sort of proper copies at this stage, and I've explained why. Any questions around the book that you'd like to know, maybe? We might as well use this opportunity to discuss these things. Being we can't question my mother or father tonight. And in my man cave. So, any question? Note. Taken out. Right. Anybody seen my new trailer on Facebook? If you haven't, see it and share it if you wish. Oh boy. It's gone awfully quiet here. Was it me again? Yes, probably me. Yes, it was me. Okay, Paul McPherson joined. Should my can you please introduce what is the Prince about? How's this? Let's have a look. I have a little piece, well, at least where this one is going anyway. Give me a moment. Before I probably sum up what scaffolding should be, or scaffold should be, Prince itself, if I show you the book, it wasn't meant to be a publication as such to start with. I'll discuss some of the designs here as well. Now, if you notice on the back there, it's meant to sort of emulate a street light. Or to the first glance, you meant to think of a street light. However, as you get closer, you notice that it's a bird box on its side, which means it should be seen that way. But there was a design element there, and I was told that you can see whales in the clouds, as in our country. So I thought that might make an actual good cover design. At the back of this, of course, which is my old man and his famous jackets. Harley Davidson jackets, Ferrari jackets, many motor jackets. But the book itself is about his eccentricities of sort of enigmatic character. Now, I've sat many a time in his company, and you'd think, jeepers, I have to do something with this. I take photographs for a living. I do documentary projects. You should be one of my subjects. I mean, tumble has been my subject for the last 10 years in my spare time. I thought Prince had to be part of that because he's a tumbling. And I thought I could sort of focus on that. And he would do these strange little things, or my brother would have a little laugh about, or my mother would be like, "Oh, what's he doing?" Or, "Oh, he's gone and built something again," or he constantly sort of rubbing people up the wrong way. Whether it was a neighbour, a friend, or somebody be complaining about something, or something that he'd said would make somebody sort of hysterics. So I then decided, right, I have to make a book. And I just remember being a kid, and I remember people would say things like, "Oh, where's Prince?" or "Has Prince gone here?" or "Is Prince going to be doing this?" or whatever. And I thought, my old man's a prince. What? Is he? Why do people keep calling him a prince? So, in my little world, I thought, man, my old man is He-Man, or something to that effect. I mean, He-Man was a prince, Prince of Eternia, and none of that packet you saw on the walls or the plates. I mean, everybody had them. Everybody had mugs and plates around their house with Princess Diana and the Prince of Wales on there. No disrespect or anything, but to a kid, it was like, whatever. He-Man was a prince, and my dad is a prince. And you kind of lived in this imaginative little world, or at least I did anyway, and I was afforded that part of it because of these things. And he would do, my old man was never there as a kid. He was constantly working or up the pub, as most dads were back then. And I was left with this sort of idea that filled the gaps, this enigmatic character that came back sometimes, and would be like, that's Dad, wow. And then you go places with Dad in a lorry or in a machine, because he used to drive machines about the place. Some as big as football pitches, I've been told. And it kind of stemmed out of that. I kind of revisited this idea of that childhood hero that I had. And, to some extent, it's still there now. And, more than that, he is a genuine hero. And my mother is as well. She's just as important to this story as he is. And even my brother, so in this book, which I probably include in the Scaffold to the Moon, and many stories by him, because he's still very much part of that world, as I am. We all live in each other's sort of company quite often, and we still have laughs about stuff. And that's where this came from. And I think if you haven't seen it, get a copy. They're available from my website. But at the moment, you can buy signed copies on Kickstarter. And if you do that, they probably come with other things as well, like exclusive stuff. So, yeah. Does that sum it up, do you think? Anyway, what I want to say about scaffolding is, let's have a look. Are you still with me, Neris? Jane, you coming in tomorrow? Well, not in here. No, we won't be here tomorrow. Hey, what if, I just had a brainwave, what if we close this up next week and I get a couple of musician friends to play in this room? I'm not sure that's possible. Hang on. I back right up to my pin board. It's quite possible. Get a couple of guitars in. We could have that there. Maybe. It's quite possible. We could even use, if we want to save some space, we could sort of use Ty's guitar. Oh, he's got even nicer one now. There's a Superman symbol in there. Maybe we could get some sort of closing. How's that sound? Let's not, shall we? This place will fall apart. It's held up by shoestring anyway. Yeah, so scaffolding. So what do I want it to be? What's it sum up for me? Well, here's something I wrote just recently for press piece, because it was asked the same question about scaffolding and what its intention is. So what do I want it to be? I want it to be something like, I want people to sort of open this and go, I want them to laugh, to think, to remember that innocence when we were kids. As I spoke now, my father being a prince, I wanted to remind people of the hope and optimism they felt as a kid. I want them to remember that special someone. So, someone daft as a brush, who reminds us that sometimes it's okay to let go, to not care, to be silly, be free, and have fun. The world is a big place, a serious one with many a big problem. Just remember, if we are standing on the moon, we would quickly be reminded how little we really are. So that's the idea. It's meant to be sort of filled with warmth and happiness, and sort of remind us that, I'm not allowed to swear. Because I'm trying to set a good example for Mike and Aaron, of course, under Aaron's request. So that pretty much sums it up. What do you think of that, Kinsey? Streetlight is first impression was good, then it worked. Yes. Hello, are you still there then? What do you mean, Moira? Hospital? Oh, have I missed something? I hope I'm not being insensitive, because I tend to be a little, I miss things sometimes. You're not in hospital by any chance here? If you are, go see my old man. He's there somewhere. How is the scaffolding to the moon project going? It's going rather well, Chris. It's coming together nicely. I've written most of the text, many of which was inspired by some of my blog stuff that I wrote and no longer exists online. I took it down a long time ago because I wanted to restructure it and build it into something else and sort of write things around that so that it had a more formal structure and a more solid narrative. But yeah, most of the photographs are done. They are all done. They're in the design of everything that's going on at the moment. I'm currently redesigning or tweaking cover things, and the editor will soon be sort of, if this is successful, I can then pay the editor to chop up my text, make that proper. I do feel the need to revisit certain things in terms of now, documenting the right now, because the last time I made a photograph for Scaffold was probably a few months ago. Maybe, I don't want to say any definites, but it's been a while since I photographed anything for it. So maybe I'll revisit one or two things that I want to put in there. At current, I believe there's probably about 40 images. I may dump some of them. I may sort of, this is it. Once I get an editor on board, they can kind of go, get rid of that. Oh, that should go in. And that happens very often. We photographers think we're very good editors, but apparently we're not. So, but I trust my instincts. I trust what goes in there. So I'm happy with everything as it's progressing. So yeah, cheers, Chris. It's been a pleasure listening to you. Well, thank you for joining, Kizzy. Do come back if you're leaving us now. Jane, awesome. Thank you. So before I go, I should probably mention a couple of things. Thanks everybody for coming in and having a listen to me in my converted lavatory, which is now an office. I'd like to show you everything, but I ain't going down that route. I want you to check out the trailer if you haven't seen it. I know many of you have. I know some of you have been sharing it already. Totally appreciate that. Anything, I'm probably going to miss stuff. I only have a little brain, and I'm trying to remember everything. I haven't got a little brain. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. In the back here, there's like an extra dome. It's to sort of compensate for all the brains I've got. Yeah. Okay. Neris, are you still there? Are you still listening? If you are, you're not doing a good job cooking. Nothing? Okay. You've probably got your hands full of flour, or Neris makes the best brownies in the world. Let me just say that. I believe it's cardigan brownies. If I'm wrong, I apologise, and I'll put a sort of note up here. But if you've never tried a cardigan brownie, you have totally missed out on life. Let me just say that. Start ordering. Neris, put another batch in. You're going to have some orders tomorrow. And once they try them, you're going to need another set of hands in the kitchen. Amazing. So let me just say that. Thank you, everybody, for sharing, for liking, sort of posting stuff, and everybody that's backed it so far. I appreciate that so much. I really wanted to put a note on Kickstarter tonight, an update. I just don't have enough hands. That's one day. I got loads of brains, just not enough hands. Just thank God for coffee. Anyway, blog. Check out my blog, please, and share that like mad as well. Share this stuff like crazy this week. If you've got friends that like photography and documentary, tell them I'm actually actually making a book here and I'm selling it. Let's see if we can get, let's be honest, 16 grand is a massive sum of money to sort of raise. It's going to take a miracle. And I know that, and I understood that before I even touched this. But I don't give up that easily. So I'll keep going until the end of the line, and whatever happens, happens. But I really appreciate that you guys are in my corner. Thank you so, so much for that. But just keep sharing, keep liking, keep doing whatever you can that sort of makes this happen. Like I said, check out my blog, share that along, share the trailer. And if you haven't seen the trailer, watch the trailer. I'm going to be posting loads more posts over the week. So knock them onto your mates. If you have 2 friends in your list that likes documentary, start selling it to them, because I think this might make the difference we need. And I'll be doing exactly what Michael said, and I'll be email absolutely everyone. So do expect some emails heading your way, maybe. I apologize in advance. I know I'm sort of spamming everybody at this stage, but it's what needs to happen. Anything else I have to say? Probably. I'll be back tomorrow. It will be Wednesday evening. Probably a little later. It won't be at 6 because I'm on daddy duty and things have to be done and I can't back out. So I'm going to see you probably about 7 in a lit shed, or maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. But thanks everybody for joining me. Let's see. Yeah, I agree, Chris. Share and share everyone. Yeah. Maybe an audio tape to go with the book. That's not a bad idea. If any of you have any more ideas in this sense, maybe I can add something. But do you think anybody wants to hear any more after tuning into this? Really? I don't think so. It's not that I don't know. Do you think? I know what I did think. I think sometimes. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much I think. I think all the way back here. I think up here. I'm everywhere. I'm thinking everywhere. All the time. All the time. It's like a big. Yeah. And I thought, music track. Now, Danny Walters' track, if K. John Fowler allows it, I was going to release the song through Kickstarter where you could sort of buy the track with the book and maybe a couple of other goodies. Maybe, I don't think anybody wants to. What kind of tape? Kind of tape? Am I reading it wrong? I don't know. Bye-bye, Rachel. Thank you for stopping in. Yeah, well, if there's any more ideas, please, I want to hear about them. Please inbox me if you like. Or just post them in here. I'll get them. Creativity belongs to all. So if you have anything that you'd like to see as a reward or a package on you, then maybe we can make that happen. I am thinking, and before I go, hear this one out. At the top of my head, I've decided that maybe if it's not going too circus and too crazy as it is starting to become, I'm thinking maybe a photo shoot with Prince in Tumble as part of the Tumble project. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's a reward. Maybe you can have tea with Pearl as well. You can have some of a Bara Breath. That's amazing. No, you can't get Welsher than that. Bara Breath is Welsher than a Welsh cake. Take that with you tonight. I'm now going. Thank you very much for joining me. Please keep supporting. Over and out. Brussels sprout. Tidy. Yeah. Is it going off?